Whenever word gets around that Colin Buchanan is coming to town, there's a quick look at the diary and then a mad rush to get tickets. And you can see why. With the countless national awards for his songwriting and performing, years as a presenter on Play School, one of Australia's most successful picture book authors, as well as known globally as one of the most compelling Christian children's artists. So Colin comes to Brisbane tonight and again tomorrow night with his Calvary Road concert. I've been able to squeeze just a few minutes from him this afternoon. G'day, Colin.
Good afternoon, Arthur. Good afternoon, listeners. And so the rumours spread that I'm coming to Brizzy.
Preparing ourselves, yes, I know.
Very exciting. Yeah. And, I've got two different hats on. I've got my singer-songwriter, country music, write some tunes, acoustic solo hat on. That's tonight. And then tomorrow night, I swap hats, and it's my jumping around on stage, crazy 10-9-8, God is great hat. So, which I love. I love that I get to, to have that sort of variety.
And that's for kids of all ages.
Oh, yes. Yeah, look, that's one of the lovely things about doing... Oh, well, look, I used to call it Aussie Praise for Kids. And then I realised that I called it Aussie Praise for Families, and I think I've called it Aussie Praise for everyone as well. And that's the beautiful thing about being a record company. You can decide to do whatever you like.
I love the way in which you play the smaller venues, like the Moreton Bay College Music Centre tonight and tomorrow night, because there's a humility and an intimacy to you in playing venues like that.
I mean, there's two different ways of operating, but they're both at the heart of them have just sharing the songs and sharing the joy of music, and also the message, the Christian message through that. So in my singer-songwriter mode, I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, it's like being in your lounge room and just telling a few stories and playing a song," and that really a lounge room's pretty small, and if you can manage to make larger venues feel like a lounge room, then there's something really great about the intimacy of just sharing music together. And look, I found with kids, just they have such great energy that to throw them all together and bring along a puppet pal called Nudge and sing some tunes, which I continue to be delighted by how many people know the songs, sing along to them. And it just seems to have its own alchemy, which I'm really blessed to be able to enjoy.
Some of the new songs we're going to be hearing tonight and quite possibly again tomorrow night from your most recent release earlier this year, Calvary Road. And in fact, your tour is named after that, the Calvary Road concert. How is this material different to anything else you've done before?
It's quite personal. It's interesting. I as a songwriter, I don't tend to write for projects, blank sheet of paper, or let's say a blank shoebox, and I'll stick, the Jesus Hokey Pokey on the outside, or whatever I might, and say, okay, now I'll start filling that up with songs, and I commence writing. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, but what I find is I'm a pretty natural writer anyway, so it's more that I've got a bunch of shoeboxes that I'm not quite sure where those songs will go. And I write a song because it pops out, and I think, I think that one belongs in that shoebox. And the Calvary Road shoebox was a collection of songs that were portraits of faith and life. I'd say the best collision of my country music and my Christian reflections, on life. So they are story songs. They're portrait songs. That's why I love playing them, and I love that people who are familiar with my country music can come along, and it's not like they're hammered by, oh no, Colin's a Christian and he's going to dump the bucket on us, but more that they can hear that there is a Christian story that weaves its way through real lives, and it's a compelling story, and the life of Jesus is weaving its way remarkably through the lives of people like them, and music is a disarming way to just encounter those stories and those truths, and I really love that I've been able to sort of create a collision of those things, in my creative life, and I've been doing music for a couple of decades now, so that's a, I think it's taken that long to just sort of find that body of work to, create it. So it's quite unique. I like to say it's not in-house, but it's enjoyed by Christian people, but it's also, I think, got a more universal sense about it, which I think is really a really great thing to take into the community.
It is my pleasure this afternoon to be speaking with well-known Australian songwriter, singer, TV presenter, author, children's artist, Colin Buchanan on Brisbane's 96.5. Did I leave anything out, by the way, Colin?
Well, I said Nutrimetics and Tupperware, but that's probably, I could fix you up with one of those little ones for the sandwiches, or if you just need a little bit of exfoliant.
Where would you find the time to sell the Nutrimetics and Tupperware, honestly?
I find just enough time to joke about them.
Colin is in Brisbane tonight and again tomorrow night at the Moreton Bay College Music Centre for a few concerts. Adults show tonight and the kids tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Colin, maybe it's just me, but the older you get, the longer you stay in this music business, you seem to be focusing more and more on expressing your Christian faith. Has that been intentional?
Look, yes and no. Like I say, the songs just tumble out, and then I do feel like, an album like Calvary Road, which the next album I make, I feel like the country scene probably deserves, and I've got a bunch of songs in the shoebox marked country songs, that I'd really love to create an album for the country scene, but I feel like this in our current climate where I'm finding, particularly, with the current issues that are floating around the ether in our community, that it's very polarizing, and to be able to bring a Christian voice into, just in my way, in my sphere, I'm not trying to, in one sense, change the world, but you get 50 people along in a gig and you sing some songs about the difference that the life of faith makes and what makes people who follow Christ tick, and some of the things that Jesus said that people find compelling and may well compel them. That's a good thing to do in the current climate where there's a great deal of polarizing and there's a lot of misconception and preconception and bias going on. So, I feel like it's, and look, the more grey hairs I get, in some ways, I feel like, there's a good opportunity. I've got a great heritage. I'm really blessed. I've been well respected by people professionally and, musically, and I'm really grateful for that. And I really, I feel like my Christian faith has been alongside all my other endeavours, play school and country music as well. So I don't feel like there's any sort of real split between the two. And so I welcome the opportunity to just be who I am.
So keeping your eye on current events and the issues around Australia, around the world, I guess is one way of keeping you continually inspired and fresh in what you do.
Well, I think so. The other thing is I'm reading a Bible commentary on Job at the moment, and Job was a fellow who went through great suffering, and it's a really profound and deep, ancient book of the Bible, and I'm finding, that reading a great reflection on ancient truths and an ancient story can be, especially one that's from the Bible, is that continues to inspire me as well. I'm a pretty keen reader, and I just I love the keeping the mind and the heart sort of soft.
So as long as you keep yourself on the cutting edge, there will never come a time then when people will have had enough of Colin Buchanan?
Look, that's a good question, Arthur, because I've been quite prepared for people to have enough of Colin Buchanan. Probably 5 or 6 years ago, I thought, well, I'm sort of wondering if this is just, going to run its course, and I'm just finding, and I want to be prepared for that, because it's not my right to, make albums and do concerts and so forth. And I just have found that, if anything, in the last 5 or 6 years, people are used to the fact that I've been doing this a long time, and it's still making sense.
And of course, you've got all those shoe boxes as well.
It's funny you should say that, because I really do. I've got a good few shoeboxes up my sleeve, so to speak. Not literally up my sleeve, because that would be very uncomfortable.
I bet it would be. Look, a real treat again to be catching up with Colin Buchanan on Brisbane's 96.5. Enjoy your time the next couple of nights. Tonight from 7 at the Moreton Bay College Music Centre. It's for adults mostly. And tomorrow night from 7, Friday night, at the same venue, and that one's for kids of all ages. Thank you again for joining me this afternoon, Colin Buchanan on Brisbane's 96.5.
Good on you, Arthur. Thanks. You're very good at what you do. Thanks, mate.